Hi, welcome to the CrafteeManatee. Today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this Boho Fringe coaster. This coaster is super easy to crochet and it's also very easy to customize into different colors so you can make a full set to spread around your home. You can also customize the center of the coaster. For the coaster that I'm going to be working on camera today, I used a single strand of worsted weight yarn, but you could also double up the strands of worsted weight yarn or use a chunkier yarn like I did in this coaster. This coaster was crocheted using 2 strands of worsted weight yarn held together. And as you can see, it just creates a slightly different look in the middle. So that's totally up to you how you want to crochet that center. This coaster is also available as a free pattern on Ribblr, so you can follow along to a written tutorial if you would prefer. But other than that, let's go ahead and get started crocheting our Boho Fringe coaster. Here are the materials that you're going to need to crochet this coaster. You'll need about 9 grams of worsted weight yarn in whatever color you want the coaster to be. We'll also be using a 5mm crochet hook or the letter H. And finally, we will need scissors and a tapestry needle for cutting off the yarn and weaving them in at the end, as well as to make these frayed edges. To get started crocheting our coaster, we are going to make a magic ring and make 6 single crochet stitches into that ring. Now we can pull that starting yarn tail tight to help close up all of these stitches, and then we will work 1 slip stitch into the first stitch that we made, and again that helps just close up this ring. Now we are going to increase in every stitch around, and that is going to bring our stitch count up to 12 stitches at the end of this round. So we are going to increase, and we're going to repeat that 5 more times, and I will meet you back here after you have completed all of those increases. For the next round, we are going to single crochet 1 and then increase, and we're going to repeat that 5 more times for a total of 18 stitches at the end of this round. So we will single crochet 1 and then increase, and we'll repeat that 5 more times, and I will meet you back here once we're done with this round. Now we will single crochet 2 and then increase, and we'll repeat that 5 more times around for a total of 24 stitches. So we will single crochet 2 and then increase, and we'll repeat that 5 more times, and I will meet you back here after we have done that. For the next round, we are going to single crochet 3 and then increase, and we're going to repeat that 5 more times around for a total of 30 stitches. So we will single crochet 3 and then increase, and repeat that 5 more times, and I will meet you back here for our next round. Now we will single crochet 4 and then increase, and we'll repeat that 5 more times for a total of 36 stitches. So we will single crochet 4 And now increase. And repeat that 5 more times, and I will meet you back here for our final round of increases. For our final round of increases, we are going to single crochet 5 and then increase, and we're going to repeat that 5 more times for a total of 42 stitches at the end of this round. So we will single crochet 5, and now increase. And repeat that 5 more times, and I'll meet you back here for our finishing touches onto this coaster. Now we can fasten off our yarn. I'm going to leave a little bit of tail here and pull that through. And I'm going to go ahead and tuck in our starting yarn tail back here, but I'm going to leave this one alone for now because it will eventually just turn into another fringe piece. So I'm going to thread this yarn tail back here through my needle. And I'm going to insert my needle through some of these stitches back here. And pull the yarn tail through. And then I'm going to go back in the opposite direction, but I'm going to skip one loop just so that the yarn tail doesn't pull right back through. And then I'm going to do the same thing one more time in the same direction we started with. I find that going in 3 different directions really helps the yarn tail not come out in the end. And then we can cut that yarn tail off. And we'll go ahead and start adding on the fringe to the outside of our coaster. To make the yarn strands that are going to be added on to the edges of our coaster, I'm going to wrap the yarn around my hand like this, but you can wrap it around anything like a phone or anything that will give you these short little yarn tails. And you can customize these sizes if you want longer frayed edges, or you can make them shorter if you want shorter ones. So this is what it will look like in the end. But to make those little yarn strands, we're going to wrap around something like your hand. So we are going to need to make 84 of these loops, and that is going to let us put 2 of these strands into each stitch around the outside of the coaster. So if you did decide to make your coaster larger for any reason or smaller, just double the number of stitches that are around it. So I'm going to just wrap around several times. I'm probably going to do half, so I'm going to do 42 and then I'll do another round of 42 just so that there aren't just a ton of loops around my hand. So 1 loop counts as up and back down. So that's 1, that's 2, 3, 4, and we're going to just continue doing that. So I'm going to go to 42. Once you're done wrapping your yarn around, you can cut the yarn tail off. And then we're going to cut along the bottom edge of the yarn. So careful not to cut your hand, but you're going to just cut along the edge like that. And this is half of our yarn tails done. And I'm going to go ahead and make the other half, and then I'll meet you back here to show you how to attach them. To attach our yarn strands onto the base of the coaster, we're just going to pick any stitch along the outside. So I'm just going to pick this first stitch here, but you can start anywhere, and insert your hook into the stitch. And then we're going to grab 2 of these yarn strands, and we're going to line them up and then fold them in half like this and loop them around our hook. And now we can pull that through, and then we're going to yarn over with all of the yarn tails and pull through that loop. Then we can remove our hook, give it a little tug, and that is how you attach the yarn strands. So we are going to do that to every single stitch around the outside. So I'll show you a few more times how we're doing this. So we insert, grab 2 of these yarn strands, line them up, fold them in half, and we'll pull them through, yarn over, and pull through. Make sure to give it a little tug just so that it is nice and secure. And to loop around. Make sure that those are lined up before the final loop. And pull it tightly. So just continue doing that all the way around, and I will meet you back here at the end for our final step. This is what your coaster will be looking like after you've attached all of those yarn strands. So as you can see, it's not quite the frayed look that we want yet. We are going for something more like this, where all of the edges are very frayed instead of just looking like yarn strands. So I will go ahead and show you how to fray those yarn strands to look like this. To fray the yarn ends, we are going to be using a needle, and you're going to just pick any yarn strand along the outside to start with and insert that needle into the base of that yarn strand. And then you're going to pull upwards, and you can do that a couple times per yarn strand, and that is going to make the frayed effect. So we will insert into the next one and pull up like that. And we're just going to continue doing this all the way around until all of our yarn strands are frayed. The final step for our coaster is just cleaning up these edges. So as you can see from this finished coaster here, these edges are right about where I want them to match this. Since I wrapped the yarn around my hand for this coaster as well, I can make sure that it's going to be roughly the same on each coaster that I make, as long as you use the same thing to wrap your yarn around. Now you could choose to trim these down a lot shorter to make a smaller frayed edge, but I like the look of this really long frayed edging all the way around. So I'm just going to take a pair of scissors and trim off anything that looks just a little bit too long. So I'm going to make some trims all the way around. I'm going to try not to cut my background here. It would be a lot easier on just a solid surface. I definitely recommend doing it that way. But we are going to just trim up some of these edges, especially this very long yarn tail that I made. And we're going to continue this all the way around. Thanks for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed learning how to crochet your own boho fringe coaster. If you did, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more crochet patterns and tutorials. You can also find all of my other patterns on Ravelry, Ribblr, and Etsy. Thanks for watching. Bye.